colleagues Maria Oreska and Martin Kostic. If you've been to these events before, thank you for joining us again. If you haven't, the point of these sessions is for us to talk you through some of the latest releases that Inphinity have brought to you this year. We're going to do 2 of these a year. This one is looking backwards at everything that we've developed for the first half of the year. We will also, though, talk a bit about some of the things that we've done. We've been to some great events and also some of the things we plan to do going forward into the second half of the year. Martin, Maria, just say hi to everybody. Just give everyone a wave and say, just let me know that you're there because I can't see you.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, great stuff. Thank you, guys. Excellent. So before we go forward, let's just mention something, right? Break the spreadsheet chain. This is the new Inphinity slogan, the new phrase that we're using. You might question why. The point is that Inphinity as a company, obviously we've been well known for data entry. In the world of Qlik, we're known as a write-back tool. But in recent times, we've been used extensively for lots of different use cases. One of them is around planning. And as we know that an awful lot of planning is done with spreadsheets. And what we're trying to do is convince people and explain the fact that you can break that chain of being tied to a spreadsheet and that reliance on spreadsheets. You can actually do all of this work inside Inphinity. You don't need to rely on spreadsheets anymore. That's why we have this fantastic looking visual, which is about breaking that chain and that reliance on spreadsheets when it comes to doing things like any form of financial planning or project planning and that over-reliance on spreadsheets that we've seen in the past. So let's move on. A little bit about Inphinity. I'm going to hand over to Martin and he's going to talk through some of these first few slides. So Martin, when you want to go forward, just shout and I'll jump the slide forward, okay?
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. A few words about Inphinity for those of you who may not know us. So Inphinity has been here for 7 years, and it's been with the people behind Inphinity have been working with Qlik for 17 years. So it's been quite a long time working together. It all started when a customer asked us if they can approve orders and invoices in Qlik. So they needed some more interactions and the possibility to interact better with Qlik and with their dashboards. And that's where we realized we can create something for them. We created one of the very first write-back extensions, basically in Qlik ecosystem, maybe even in the world. So this was our start. Since then, we were able to work and cooperate closely with more than 300 customers. We have more than 90 partners all around the world, providing premium support really all around the world, literally in your time zone. So that means in Europe, in Americas, and in APEC. Next slide, please. Thank you. So not too long ago, we went to an amazing event called Qlik Connect, where we were sponsoring as Ruby sponsors. You see some pictures here, meeting some people in the community, had some great discussions, and really it was, for me personally, a great experience to meet people. So we're trying to be really close to Qlik. We're really trying to make sure that if there's any new Qlik version or any new release or something, that Inphinity always works. This is for us really critical because many of our customers, we are the mission critical tool. So we help them to deal with their mission critical processes, automate their mission critical processes, collect data, and make decisions in business. And that means these tools have to just work and can't have any interruptions. So this is why we're very close to Qlik. And some of you may have noticed that Qlik also released their or is about to release their write-back table, which is called Qlik Write. So we also wanted to share a few thoughts around this one, because we are quite we were actually quite happy about this, because we've seen it links nicely with Qlik's agentic AI strategy, which was announced at Qlik Connect, which is in our opinion going in a good direction. And obviously, a certain level of user interaction is required in this agentic AI strategy. That totally makes sense. Obviously, Infinity is a completely different platform. I would even say. So it's a different category. So Infinity is a really advanced planning tool, and it's also an advanced application development, business application development, automation tool, enabling user interaction. So this is it's something that actually builds on what is available currently in Qlik, and we always try to use what is available. So this is maybe a few thoughts on this. Any thoughts from you guys, Maria or Simon?
My first thought, Martin, is I'm disappointed that Mr. Capone was not wearing the green ears. Clearly, he's in a room with a lot of people that are, and I think he missed an opportunity, if I'm honest with you. But it was great to meet so many of our partners and customers at the event. It was a fantastic event. You can see there Maria's with Dalton Rua. Maria, I know you know Dalton very well. You've worked with him closely for a long time.
Yeah. Thankfully, we were able to meet in person finally after 7 years or so. So it was really wonderful.
That was the first time you met Dalton in person, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Oh, that's really cool. And I think just a special word from us, actually, in the slide where you can see in the middle there, there's myself with a couple of people sitting on chairs. We've got Guilherme on the right-hand side. He works for Infinity. But in the middle is Tom Langell and Caitlin from Monterey Mushrooms. They were very kind enough to come and speak with us at the event. They are very strong users of Infinity. They've been developing a fabulous planning solution for a while now, and they were very happy to share and speak with us at that event. So yeah, just a thank you to them as well, which was great. So Martin, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we're always trying to stay close to Qlik, stay close to our partners and customers, and basically based on that is how we develop the product, right? So our partners and customers have a big word in the roadmap, and we're always keen to hear what they have to say. And yeah, this is how we approach it. So it's great to have customers like Monterey Mushrooms who were happy to share their story, and I believe it was very interesting for everyone who was listening and watching.
Yeah, agreed.
Next slide, please. Thank you very much. So this is how Infinity differentiates, or I would say more like how Infinity is thinking about the whole area of planning and application development in Qlik. First of all, we are doing really our best and trying hard to be as compatible with Qlik as possible. So people can really start with simple use cases and go really very, very far beyond what even beyond what they can imagine. So in terms of the scalability, it's really powerful. It's important that if we want to be compatible with Qlik, that means really compatible without any compromise. So we support Qlik's cloud. I would say Qlik's cloud initiative, or Qlik's initiative of going to cloud, Qlik cloud environment in a very seamless native way, where people can just log in and start to work without having to install anything or having anything more difficult than just a login. We also support hybrid deployments, so that means customers can use the cloud capabilities and store data on their own premises. On-premise is a must, obviously, for large enterprise customers who are not allowed to go to cloud. So we work fully on-premise. And yeah, so in terms of how we work with people, I already mentioned that we're trying to really keep our customers involved in the roadmap. But it's also important that we try to make sure that our performance is really excellent, and we meet also the most stringent enterprise grade criteria, right? So that means performance, security, user management, and so on and so on. So really, people can just set their expectations, and there is a good chance that Infinity will just fulfill them. Next slide, please. Yeah, and that's the end of my part, and I'll hand over to Maria.
Excellent. Thank you, Maria. I'm just going to stop sharing, and then you can start sharing your screen, and over to you.
Okay, perfect. In the meantime, guys, how did you like latest releases?
They're amazing. There's some of the things that have been developed. I'm really excited for you to show us and show the audience, because they are really cool. Infinity's always been, I've been with Infinity now for 2 years. It's always been a brilliant product. people that know me will know that I cannot possibly talk to anyone unless I believe in the product. I can't talk about how wonderful it is unless I genuinely believe it. It's easy with Inphinity, right? It's really cool. It's a really cool thing to use. And I can't say enough about our brilliant technology and Maria's team. They're just so good at what they do. They think through everything. And it goes to show that we use our admin console that Maria's about to show you. We use Infinity Forms to manage Infinity Forms. What better, story is there, right? So it's really good. Sorry, Maria, over to you.
No. Actually, it was a really nice bridge for the first thing I'm going to show you. And it's exactly as Simon mentioned. It's a forms admin application that consists of multiple forms developed for the purposes of managing Infinity Forms in your environment. Forms admin application exists in the on-prem deployment for years for now. In Qlik Cloud, it's about 2 years or so. And at the beginning of this year, we made it much better than it was before. So if you are using Qlik Cloud or thinking about Qlik Cloud, now this is the first way or the recommended way to manage your Infinity Forms in the Qlik Cloud tenant. And the reason is pretty simple. It's because it combines both of best worlds, Infinity Forms and Qlik. So if I want to invite new people to use Infinity Forms, I don't need to copy and paste their email addresses anywhere or so on the first sheet. At every time, I always have the list of people, of users of your Qlik Cloud. So you can just easily say that I want to invite this one, or I want to activate license for this one, I want to activate license for this one. So pretty easy. But it doesn't end here, because in the Forms admin application, there are multiple other sheets you can use and that have been improved in the release at the beginning of this year. One big improvement that's available in cloud and will be available until end of this year on-prem is that we introduced something we call SQL data sources. It's similar to data connections in QlikSense. So if you want to use your database to store your manual inputs, your user entries, you don't need to enter your credentials every single time you want to define a new data storage. You just define new SQL data source as a connection to your database, for example, Snowflake, but also MySQL, PostgreSQL, and other databases. And then when you create new data storage, something we call new form instance, I can select that I want to store my data either on Infinity Server, so a full SaaS experience, we manage everything for you, or if you decide to go with SQL database, then you can switch to use existing data source and just select one of already available SQL data sources. Actually, it's also one thing that was really critical for us to be able to support something called Snowflake Keeper authentication. And anyone using Snowflake probably knows what I'm talking about. So you don't need to worry with Infinity Forms. It's fully supported as it needs to be.
And so Maria, just a quick point on that, just before we jump ahead. So before we set up the new SQL data sources, if you had a Qlik app, let's say you had 5 forms, you would have to connect each one of those forms individually to the backend SQL storage. But now what you're saying is you just have to connect it to the SQL data source that you created, and all 5 can just basically very quickly share that connection, right? So you don't have to repeat this exercise again and again for every single form, correct?
Exactly.
That's a big time saver. That's a big time saver.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing from administrators.
That's great. No, that's really good. Thank you.
Don't worry, it's backward compatible. So you can always use manual configuration. So this is the way how it was before. So every single time you were creating a new data storage, you had to enter server address, database name, username, password, and so on and so on. Now it's up to you whether you want to use existing data source or keep using manual configuration. It's still an option.
Great stuff.
And the last thing I want to mention when it comes to this release that improved admin experience, especially in Qlik Cloud, is that you probably noticed that Qlik introduced something called Qlik user groups. And actually, or custom groups, I'm sorry. Actually, in Qlik Cloud, you could use user groups for years, I think. But those were user groups defined in your IDP. So something you need to ask your IT to update, create new group, or assign new person to. So it's not much often used for managing user access in Qlik Cloud. But at the beginning of this year, Qlik introduced something called Qlik custom user groups. So user groups you can define by yourself in Qlik admin console. And just a few weeks after they released this new feature, we added Qlik custom user groups to Infinity Forms admin application. So when you are managing new form, or when you are managing existing form instance ID data storage, you can select user permissions that should be applied to a specific group for the particular form instance ID. And actually, when I showed this to Qlik technical team, they said that they were really surprised by how fast we could deliver this. So it was really like 2 weeks or so after the release. But yeah, that's what we like to do.
And Maria, with the mention of releases, I think it's important to mention that in the past, Infinity has done 2 releases a year, right? But now we've changed that, yes?
Well, there were times when we did 2 releases per year, 4 releases per year. But as Martin said at the beginning, we keep listening to our customers and partners. And actually, the preferred way was to do monthly releases with a smaller focus, because we can deliver new things much faster this way. And it's also much easier for them to consume and to understand what's new, because it's not a long newsletter full of 30 or 50 or 60 bullet points of what's new. It's really focused on a particular topic. Like this, I think, was a February release or so. It was really focused on admin experience in Qlik Cloud.
Yeah, perfect. If I might just add, if anyone in the audience would like to ask any questions, then please use the chat that you can see and enter the question in there. And what we'll do is at the end, once we've finished all of Maria's demo, we'll come back and we'll try and answer any of the questions. If you're watching this after the live event, please post the questions into LinkedIn. And of course, we will then go back and answer them regularly as we have done in the past. So drop your questions in, and then we'll come back to them in a moment. So thank you for that. Sorry, Maria, back to you.
Actually, I wanted to give it back to you, so people can hear your voice too.
Excellent. So yeah, I think one of the key points we wanted to make is that the authorization, the ability to actually authenticate into Snowflake is quite a big deal, right? Because a number of our customers were saying to us, Snowflake is going to change the way that people log into their environment. We need to be able to support that. Otherwise, Infinity wouldn't be able to save data into Snowflake tables very easily as we can now. So we very quickly came up with a very elegant solution for the ability to authenticate and for users to log into Snowflake and for the data to be saved, right? So I think we did the whole thing from start to finish less than 6 weeks or something crazy. It was really quick, really quick.
We did something else in between. So
yeah, and this is the point. The guys that do this are just really fast, but thorough as well. We're not cutting corners here, right? We're doing it properly. So yeah, really impressive.
Well, that's the thing when you have a development team that's fully focused on a product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth mentioning the fact that this request was obviously driven by our customers through our partners. And that's one of the key things that we regularly do. We set up calls with our customers and partners. We listen to their feedback. We've got a very long list of ideas, and we then prioritize those into what we call our big rocks. Guys, at some point, we have to show you what Maria uses to prioritize all of our 200 plus ideas. She's got this brilliant Infinity Forms prioritization app where we go through all of the ideas and we prioritize them all in Infinity Forms. It's magnificent. Sorry, Maria, back to you. I'm blowing your trumpet quite a lot here today. I'm sorry.
No worries at all. But maybe the idea for the next webinar to show how Infinity uses.
Yeah, that would be a good one. We could do that. Absolutely. That's really cool.
Okay, so let me move to the other release. So the latest addition to our portfolio was Infinity Forms Planning, or simply said, editable pivot table.
Yeah.
We introduced it at QlikConnect, I think, last year, if I'm right. And in the meantime, we have been collecting feedback and inputs about the next most important capabilities, functions, and features we should include into. And at the beginning of this year, or in the first half of this year, we have released a new set of packages or functions and features you could use in Infinity Forms Planning. So if you already used Forms Planning, now you see it quite differently because there are rounded corners, slightly different colors, and yeah, this whole styling and visual might feel different. And the reason is that as of now, you can choose between the theme you want to use. So in the original release, only the classic theme was supported. So the one that's fully inspired by the Qlik native objects and Qlik default table and so on. Now you can very easily switch to modern theme and bring this new, maybe more cool style. So that's one new feature regarding forms planning. Another one is that you can lock the grand total row and grand total column if you want. So when a user enters data in the pivot table, as you can see, as you would expect, related totals are automatically updated. When I update totals, it's also automatically distributed based on my distribution rules in the properties panel. But as you can see, as a user, I can't edit this number because I don't want end users to allow to edit numbers across multiple years. It's a setting, you can allow them if you want to. So yeah, that's the new thing. Also, something that was probably the most often requested feature is the possibility to combine manual inputs with data coming from data model. And it means that now you can easily combine actuals for planning purposes. So we have data from January, February, March, and so on, with manual inputs for the rest of the year. Or as it's shown in this case, it combines information about capacity that I can enter easily for a specific person with number of vacation that the person has planned, because that might be coming from a different system where the vacation planning is done. Hopefully, it's a different Qlik application using Infinity Forms. And probably my most favorite feature of this release when it comes to forms planning was this. And it's something you probably intuitively know what it's about. So when I change the number, I can easily save it, and I can enter comment that's linked to a specific cell in my forms planning object. When I hit the button, there is a pop-up that gives me a space to enter comment. For example, I corrected the number, agreed with Simon. Hey, Simon. And together with the comment, I can always see the data that was there when I saved the comment. So even if Simon now comes and changes the number, I can still see the context that was there when I entered my comment.
Excellent.
So, Simon, Martin, what do you think about the new planning features?
Martin, I've said a lot. Your turn.
No, I've been working on planning projects and talking to customers for quite a long time, and these were exactly the key things they were requesting. Especially if you have a real life, more complex planning process, you definitely want to give people context of the planning workflow, right? So they want to see the history, some historical numbers. They want to see some calculated numbers, maybe some projected values with some AI machine learning model. You can make it even more advanced, right? And then you're asking the person to enter something that they actually are then held accountable. too, right? So so that is that's why adding these calculated values is really important. Commenting totally helps collaboration. It's about people, it's about humans. So leaving a note to someone and actually pointing out to something which deserves some further attention is really so important. So this is definitely the vision also going forward. We want to make sure that this that Infinity is as powerful as possible in the planning area and then automation, of course, but planning is definitely one of the number one, maybe even the number one use case we've been dealing with recently, right, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that I think is most requested by our customers. And planning, of course, a lot of people think of planning being financial planning, which of course that's very popular, things like budgeting, forecasting. But equally, we get a lot of customers looking to do demand forecasting, which we call sales planning. Capacity planning is the one that you've got. She's going to jump straight to it. Look at this. Real time, on the fly presentation. Exactly. And if you ever get a chance to have a look at the Infinity Universe demo portal, this is easily my favorite app. Maria, kudos to you, because this is a really good one. And the ability to actually let people do kind of like budgeting and what if scenarios is a really big deal. The ability to play with numbers, put in different versions. I don't know if people can see it, but you've got a filter selected there that says budget. You can actually change that to a different version of the budget or maybe a forecast, and you can very quickly switch between these different views that you want to see. You can then play with the numbers and then effectively lock down the thing that wins. Almost you could do this champion challenger way of forecasting and planning and budgeting. And from my experience, that's what companies do, right? That's actually what people do. So this is getting very close to the kind of capabilities that you see in, you know, big expensive tools like Jedox and Anaplan. We're really, really not far away from almost everything that you can do in those kinds of tools. So for me, this is huge.
But in more agile way.
In a much more agile way. And of course, you're doing it where your data is inside Qlik, which is exactly what people want to do. And that's why that whole, coming back to that whole breaking the spreadsheet chain concept, right? You're able to work with things that look and feel like a spreadsheet, behave like a spreadsheet, but give you the governance, control, and security of a properly formulated solution, right? Which is exactly what you get with this, which is just brilliant. My favorite thing about the planning pivot table is the ability to actually, I think it's sometimes known as splitting and splashing the data, right? But that ability to go in right at the top level and say, if I put in a number here, it will distribute down through the hierarchy, but you've got three methods, right? That ability to do like flat, proportional, or weighted methods. That's so clever, because then you can really be precise about how you want those numbers to be spread through the hierarchy. It's really, really cool, really cool.
Actually, now I feel a bit sorry, Simon, because I interrupted your thought about planning being used not only for financial planning. And if I'm right, you didn't finish it. So
no, you're right. I didn't finish it. But you know something? We've got some customers using it to do some really interesting things, right? So one in particular is looking to do, I think it's kind of like asset planning. So they've got all of these different assets around the country, and they need to be able to allocate people, equipment, and materials to each one of these assets. And they're using Infinity to do that kind of planning. It's kind of a large building company, but it's very clever. And this is really helping them. So it's a really fantastic use case. Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to move on?
I think so. I think now would be a good time.
Martin, is it okay? Or
yeah. Let's move on.
Okay, so now drum roll, please. No, not here. Yeah, that's the agile way of presentation, right? Yeah, so I wanted a drum roll for signature, and signature is a new field type we introduced a few weeks ago. And it allows you to do, what do you think it allows you to do?
Let me think. Oh, is it actually write something in a box that looks like a signature, maybe?
You got it right, Simon.
In fact, you're trying to produce the infinity symbol in that box with the mouse.
Thank you for the recognition. Yeah. It allows you to literally sign your values, sign your budget, sign your targets. You can really say that I did this inspection and these are the results. I sign. And yeah, it's pretty innovative. And honestly, what I'm really proud of are multiple things here. The first one is that the idea came from a customer.
Yeah.
And actually, if oh, we missed this slide. We can come back to it later.
We got in the
Agile
wrong order,
presentation.
no problem. Yeah.
So, Simon, if you want to explain more about where the idea came from.
So this was fantastic. So one of our existing customers based in Ireland came to us and said, this was in the middle of last year, and they said, look, we have lots and lots of staff. They work in a factory environment. They need to do lots of training. So they have to lift heavy equipment. They're working with dangerous equipment, dangerous tools. They have to pass regular tests and they have to sign to say that they've completed this training. So a lot of the training is on the job training, right? And when they sign something, they have to, at the moment, use paper. And it's a very bad environment for the use of paper. The paper often gets wet, it's contaminated. All of this paper gets put in a box or many, many boxes. And then auditors come along. Hello, I used to be an auditor. Sorry for that, folks. Auditors come along. They then need to take a sample of these paper records and check that everyone's completed the training they have to complete, mandatory training, right? It was too much. They didn't like it. It was very hard to work with the paper. The paper would get damaged or soiled in some way. They said, can we have an electronic way with Inphinity to capture a signature of a user? We don't want to do it through, these people don't use computers. They're working in an environment where they don't have access. We want a trainer to deliver the training, have a tablet device like an iPad or an Android device or something like that. And they would then scrawl their signature in a box. Could we build something Inphinity to do that? So I spoke to Maria and said, Maria, what do you think? Could we do that? And she said, Simon, when have I ever said no to you? So within a few months, this was developed and it's gone way beyond what I expected. I think way beyond what the customer asked for as well. So the nice thing is that you can do that. The thing that blew my mind, I said to Maria, how are you saving the picture of the signature? Where are you saving it to? So people are going to ask, where does it get stored? The last thing we want is for someone to be able to actually change that signature. And Maria said, Simon, it's not saved as a picture. And I went, what is it? And she said, it uses the same technology as the creation of a font. A font is a mathematically created object that scales based on how big or small it needs to be, right? You change the size of a font, you're not changing the size of a picture, you're mathematically scaling the size of the thing that you look at. This uses exactly the same method. It's genius, it's absolute genius, which is why when you sign it big and then suddenly you see this small image, it's the same thing, it's just scaled down, right? Using mathematical formula to do it. It's really clever. And honestly, Maria, huge congrats to you and the team. It's very cool. It's very clever. We've got two other customers that want this as well. One is an organization that runs many schools in America. They want to use this to get permission from parents to take their children on things like field trips and stuff like that. They don't want to keep sending out paper that the kids lose on the way to home. And so that's one other use case. We've got another one, which is a part of the UK's NHS service. They need to do mandatory asset inventory checks twice a year. By law, they have to do this. They have to check all of the equipment and they have to sign to say it's been done, right? They are delighted and excited about using this capability. So, I mean, just three simple examples right there for something that is, I think, going to change a lot of the use of Infinity Forms. So, yeah, great use cases.
Yeah, from the business perspective, from the business workflow, I would even say, is many times companies need to get their salespeople or their whatever technology partners to sign a target, right? So they get a target, they have to sign it, right? Kind of approve that yes, this is they're committing to going after it. So this can also be used in these use cases in just normal internal workflows where you just need someone to confirm something.
And approve something. Yeah, exactly. Great, great.
And actually, I know, guys, you know how it behaves afterward, but I think many attendees of this webinar don't. So when I sign the data, I can either lock them, I will show that in another application, or I can keep them open for further modifications if that's needed. But whenever someone makes a change, the signature becomes invalid. Just like that, I didn't even hit the save button. The signature knows that what is here is different from the values that have been signed.
Wow.
So not just like another checkbox, but with the handwritten painting or however people would call it. It really contains the functionality you would expect from the signature.
I didn't know that. That's very cool.
You didn't?
I didn't know that.
Great time on the webinar today.
I'm glad I'm here. That's really cool.
And for developers, the new field type signature is just another field type, so you can work with it pretty seamlessly. And you can actually do other great things when you use signature in Infinity Forms as another field type. Here, for example, I can sign only those rows that have been approved. I can open this signature, but I can't sign the data because the data hasn't been approved. So when the data is approved, I can sign it. And now all form fields in my form is now locked, so I can't update it anymore. And to make it visually different and pretty clear to end users, I even changed their background colors to green to really visualize that this specific initiative has been signed off and can be started as a project.
And Maria, I know I'm going to be asked this question when I start speaking to customers about this. If you wanted to hide that column so that only people that are allowed to sign that field can see it, is that possible? Can we hide it from people that are not allowed to see it? Yeah.
Of course, because it's another field type. So the same way as you can hide checkbox, measure, dimension, text field, you can also hide signature using your own custom conditions.
Yeah, that's really great. So essentially we can do this with any field type because signature is just another field type within these forms. We can hide it. We can make it visible only to people allowed to see it, which really does allow you to say, right, let's build one form. Some users will come in and fill in the form. Other users will come in and they can approve and sign the form. Yeah. So you get that segregation of duties that you often need in a business process. Yeah. That's really powerful.
You can even split that to multiple forms if that's needed.
Yeah.
But that's the agility that tool like Infinity Form gives you.
Very nice.
Actually,
very nice.
You know what I realized, and it's again really cool about the whole story around the signature. The customer originally uses Infinity Forms for what, Simon?
For demand planning. They're actually looking to actually forecast the demand of their products because they sell to large retailers, large shops, and they need to accurately predict demand for their products from those shops. Yeah.
Yeah. And once they understood that they can do much more with Qlik and make it more interactive, provide user inputs directly where the rest of the data is, they started thinking differently. That's why they asked us if we could do something like that.
Yeah, exactly. What is interesting as well is that this request began with, can you just build us a simple signature authorization request? It's grown, I think, into, could we use Infinity to build a complete training management system? Which
that's also true.
That's what they're looking to do right now, right? And so essentially, instead of going out to the market to buy a training management system, which I think they told us was going to cost like hundreds of thousands of euros, they're now saying they could build it in Infinity for less money, considerably less money. So yeah, it's great. It's great to be, and they'll get exactly what they want. They'll build a bespoke system that meets their requirements, exactly what they need. So
yeah.
Great stuff.
Okay, do you want me to go back to the presentation?
Yeah, just the one with the pharmaceutical image, just for a moment there, because I think one of the things that we need to mention, I think, is that we can't mention the name sadly, but a leading European pharmaceutical company have already begun using and implementing these planning features that you've mentioned, and we're getting some really good feedback from them. The feedback not only is also positive and they like what they're getting, but it's also constructive because they're telling us to actually develop more things. I think, Maria, sneak peek, we're going to create a cell calculator in the next month or so, for planning. So something quite cool.
Actually, these days, we are working on export to Excel file from the
Export
pivot
to
table.
Excel from planning, okay.
So that will be out in a few weeks. And we are already working on design of the new feature you mentioned, cell calculator. So when you are about to edit value in a specific cell in a forms planning, now you can change it manually, but you will be also able to increase it by 10%, decrease it by 7%, or do this kind of operations you might want from the solution.
Fantastic. And that really is that brings that almost detailed granular control to the cell level, which is what people often do in planning tools. So that will be another big step forward towards making sure that Infinity can meet all of these kinds of planning use cases, which is very super cool. Oh gosh, I sounded American. Sorry. Very cool. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Excellent. So I think maybe we could just jump to the summary slide and just summarize what we've covered. So Maria, you're probably best placed to summarize this for us. So if you could just cover these points, that would be great.
Yeah, of course. So in this webinar, we were going through the releases that were done in the first half of this year, 2025. We started with the simplified administration in the Qlik Cloud. So new capabilities in Forms admin application in Qlik Cloud, including something we call data sources. So you can now define SQL data source and then reuse it across multiple form instances, multiple data storages. And it was a critical part for us to support Snowflake Keeper authentication. That's now fully covered, so you don't need to worry about that if you use Snowflake as your database. Then we went through updates we did to Forms Planning Table. It means this editable pivot table in our portfolio. We covered the modern themes, so very simple switch in a properties panel that changes from classic design to more rounded blue stylish thing. Also, I showed you that now you can lock grand row total and even grand row column if you want to prevent users to change the C-level cell and related cells. And probably my favorite thing when it comes to forms planning as of now, we showed you that it's possible to add comments to a specific cell inside forms planning.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we showed you the signature, a new field type in Infinity Forms, and also the related functionality, like the signature becomes invalid when user changes the signed data, or what you can do with the rest of the row to lock it and to prevent any further changes, highlight it, and whatever you can imagine.
Perfect. Thank you, Maria. Now, Maria, before you go on to the last slide, we have actually got some nice questions from our audience. So thank you, audience, for sending those through. So the first one that we've got is from Jeff at IPC, one of our partners in the US. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for sending your question. Is there a summary export for all of the comments? I think what Jeff might mean is the comments that you've entered into the planning pivot table. Is there a way to summary export those?
There is no built-in function to export the comments, but since the comments are stored in a data storage, in a Forms data storage, you can very easily load them back to your Qlik data model, including all metadata, like who saved the comment, when it was saved, date and time, including the data that has been commented on, right? So the value that was there when you save the comment. And then when you have it in your Qlik data model, you can do whatever you want with it. So it can be a tabular overview that's very easy to search for something specific in. And also, I already saw a really cool solution using Infinity Forms General to show the list of all the comments done in the Forms pivot table, in a Forms planning table, with additional columns saying that based on this comment, this is the reaction, this is the next step, this is the owner of the action, this is the deadline, and this is the state whether it was finished or not yet.
That's a really good idea. So you can have your planning pivot table, and next to it is another form, basically with all of those comments listed, plus extra information, actions, steps, and so on.
I really hope this will make it to Infinity Universe pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to go into the demo apps. Very nice. Love it. Jeff, thank you. Great question. We've got a question here from Mark Little. Thank you, Mark, for sending this in. Can you set up an alert to say that something has been signed?
Of course.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a built-in functionality, but since Infinity Forms is in Qlik Cloud, you can very easily set up notification in Qlik Cloud using either Qlik automation, or if you are on-prem, there are also ways that you can manage it to send notification, for example, via email or SMS.
Excellent. So maybe that's something we might be able to put into a future little video or something to show people how we can do that, which is great. Thank you, Mark. Good question. Brooks, hi, Brooks. Thanks for joining and sending over your question as well. Can all of the rows possibly be signed all at once? Or even maybe if you made a selection of, say, 10 rows, can you sign all of them at the same time? Is that possible?
Unfortunately, not yet. And just for a visualization of the question, because I know pretty well what you mean, just to show to the others. If you use Infinity Forms General, you can very easily run Qlik, so you can very easily select the specific product, select specific countries, and then you can apply something we call batch update to do more changes at once, based on the value I entered. Now it's been automatically saved for me. When it comes to signature as a field type, as of now, it's not possible to sign multiple rows at once, but honestly, it's the first thing regarding signature in the list of ideas for future
ideas, along with a lot of others, but I'm sure it will find its way in. But
no, that's the first one. Yeah, I can be honest about it.
And I'll be honest, guys, these are the kinds of things when you raise these questions, we take them away, they get added to our ideas list, we never lose them, and we do our very best to build them in as quickly as we can. There are a lot, so obviously and Brooks has just said a really nice thing. He said, I love this bells and whistles format. It makes me want to replicate myself so I have time to go through all of the universe apps. Brooks, that would be amazing. If you can find the time to go through them all, that would be great. Fantastic.
Actually, if I may add something to this topic of signing multiple values at once, there is another thought in my mind right now. You don't need to sign every single row here. You can do something similar to what we have in this demo application, sales planning and forecasting.
Okay.
When I click on this custom button approval, it opens a pop-up containing forms single record.
Yeah.
And as of now, there is a traffic light field type that I can use to approve my plan. When I hit apply, it's saved, the application is reloaded, and all the values here will be locked because I approved my budget. So instead of traffic light, you can use signature field type here, and in this way, make sure that the user literally can sign multiple rows.
Okay, so this is really cool. So just to make sure people understand this, right? What we're saying is you're going to create a single record form, save it as a master visualization, then call it through that pop-up button, and then
and that's in the actions.
And then in the actions,
technical.
Okay, that's really cool. Brooks has said he actually has a use case. He's considered a use case that it would work with for him. So already we have a customer that has said this is something that he could use. That raises it up the priority list in the list of ideas very quickly. So when we do our big rocks planning and we use your planning application, your priority planning app, there you go. It's another planning use case, priority planning. That's actually something that will go in there. And when it's requested by a customer, it gets a big thumbs up and then it moves up the priority list. Thank you, Brooks. Really good feedback. So yeah, fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, guys, I'm just checking to see if there's any more questions. I don't think so. So guys, just if you've got any more, raise them very quickly. Otherwise, you can always raise them after the event. Martin, if we can hand back to you, maybe for a little bit of a CEO wrap up and a summary, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. It was actually nice to watch the discussion and how it all turned from, oh, it's not possible, to something like, oh, it's absolutely possible to
Of
sign
course,
multiple
yeah.
rules. So yeah, this is the point, right? And that's what I really love about Qlik, and how you can really find a solution basically to anything, right?
Yeah.
It's I would almost like dare to say yes to everything, and then figure out how to do it. I could be quite confident it would be possible. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, just being. So in terms of Infinity and where we're going, so this is so that it makes sense to everyone. Like why these developments, and why this is the direction, why exactly these features. So we actually we actually realized we're pioneering a completely new dimension of tools, right? Because when we started taking people away from spreadsheets, like which options do you have if you're leaving a spreadsheet? If you're leaving your peaceful spreadsheet, maybe not that peaceful, but well-known spreadsheet world, you typically have to go and buy something really heavy, something really expensive, and usually quite rigid, to say. So
Focused on a specific use case only.
And very, very focused on what you want to do, right? So you're jumping from a complete agility and flexibility to something which is like completely different, like 180 degrees different, right? So something quite rigid, usually. We're trying to build something which is in the middle, somewhere like more like a different dimension, right? Because this really sits between spreadsheets and these heavyweight and often very expensive tools, right? So in these areas, in these two areas of planning and application development, so you don't have to go to something complex and heavy. You can use something which actually it's a nice combination of three tools in one. Right? It's a spreadsheet with all its agility and flexibility. It's a heavyweight tool, really. So gives you all the features that you know from all these advanced low-code application development platforms and planning platforms. And at the same time, it's in Qlik, so it gives you an excellent analytical tool, which we consider the best in the market. So this is the idea of where we're going.
And Martin, to complement what you've just said, one of our customers in America that started using Infinity about August 2023, so nearly 2 years ago, spoke to them a month ago, and they said not only have they replaced hundreds of spreadsheets with Infinity, they've also recently replaced 40 Microsoft Access databases. So if you've got those kinds of legacy database tools and you want to put them into something that can hold an enormous amount of data but give you the same kind of control and security, look it up. It's a great idea. Come and talk to us. We'd be delighted to discuss it with you. So it's exactly as you said, that kind of low code, agile ability to develop solutions. That's exactly where we sit. Really, really good point.
Exactly. So that means if there are no more questions, we can conclude.
Before we do, I'd just like to mention the two things in the green box on this slide, right?
I wanted to mention that.
Oh, you can go for it.
No,
Sorry, I thought you were going to wrap us up.
It's yours. Go ahead.
You sure? Okay, go on then. I'll say.
Should I change the guy on the picture now, or very quick?
But the dashingly good-looking, handsome guy in the blue shirt. You can pay me later.
No problem.
Yeah. So the first thing we want to mention is that one of the things we've been asked to do is to support Qlik's move to cloud program. They're obviously actively trying to encourage customers to move over to Qlik Cloud. We've been delighted to be part of that. One of the things that we're offering now is a freemium license. It will be on cloud only, but the idea is that you can get Infinity Forms and one of our other products called Infinity Flow. They will be available to you for free. There are constraints, of course. It's limited to a small number of users and a specific number of records that you can actually save. It's quite a lot, but it's a fixed number. But it does give you full access to all of the products, all of the capabilities for a year, and then you can renew the product after that if you want to, again for free, so you can continue to use Infinity in the cloud, albeit restricted to some degree. Okay, that's supporting the fact that if you're on-prem, you can of course get a 30-day trial. If you want to extend that slightly, you can come and talk to me and my team, and we'll gladly do that. I think it's worth mentioning just one other thing that's not on this slide. Infinity now has the ability to provide you with Qlik as well. Now, the reason for doing that is we're trying to encourage people that don't know Qlik, don't use Qlik, but would like the capabilities that live within Qlik and combined with Infinity to build some fantastic solutions. Some of the customers that we have, especially one in my mind in the UK, they use a different technology for their business intelligence. They will remain nameless, but they use Infinity and Qlik to build heavy-duty operational systems that require a lot of data, but a lot of agility and lots of users. All right, so exactly what Martin said, where you build this system that sits somewhere between the spreadsheet and a heavyweight solution. You can do that with Qlik and Infinity, even if Qlik is not allowed to be used as the BI tool in that company. You can ignore the fact that Qlik is a BI tool, and you can use it as the platform with Infinity to be a solution for delivering transactional systems. Okay, so if you want to consider that, happy to talk about that with you guys and happy to show you how that might work. So thank you, Martin. I'll hand back to you. You can wrap up officially.
Yeah, thank you. There's nothing more to say. So room for the very last question. If there's no further questions, so
no, I think we're good. So
okay, we're good. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming, for watching, and yeah, it was a pleasure for all of us, and we'll be looking forward to the next bells and whistles very, very soon with new releases coming.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Have a nice day.
Bye bye.